G'day guys, welcome to Beyond the Tape, a podcast where we focus on people doing rad things within the mountain bike industry in Australia. Whether that's media, riders, product designers, or marketing people, whoever has a rad story. In this episode, we are chatting with the only Baxter Maywald. Again, mainly because he had this rad project come out called Notion. Some of the biggest jumps I've ever seen hit from an Australian rider in Australia. Before we move on to that, though, I want to thank a few sponsors. I'd like to thank Trek for making a bike as sick as the Slash. Rode and raced state downhill titles. Yesterday, it was a pretty tame track, but man, the Slash just loved every moment of it. Held lines really easy on the off camber, sped up to speed real easy, just did everything perfectly. There's never a time on this bike where I feel like I wish I had something else. Except maybe climbing, where I wish I had that fuel EXE. Anyway, I miss that bike already. But these bikes are amazing. I love what Trek are doing. Cool bikes, cool people, and they help a bunch of rad people out as well. NS Dynamics had my suspension working better than ever for Statos. Sent it up there, got them to do a hyper performance tune, and absolutely love it when it comes back. Feels plusher than new air spring nitrogen, and some fresh Racing Brothers seals get that fork working better than ever. Frank was keeping me covered, so people needed less therapy. Still in love with their downhill pants or trail pants, whatever you want to do. Dinner pants, they are absolutely epic. Super flexible, super tough, super adjustable in the waistband as well, which is good when you're a big boy like me. Tailored Trails, I'm always itching to get back to Tasmania. Every single day of the week I'm itching to get back. Except I don't want to book accommodation, deal with shuttling from the airport to Maydena or to anywhere else, and sometimes I just don't know where to ride. But thankfully, if you're in that boat and you want to go with a group of your mates up to 18 people, hit up Tailored Trails, because they will show you every good trail there is to ride. You don't have to worry about heading down the wrong shittest trail. They pick you up from the airport, they organise accommodation, and because they're rider owned and operated, you're going to get the best when it comes to the mountain bikes. Dirt Surfer mud guards, keeping the mud out of my eyes all weekend. Just getting a fresh batch of those things sent to me soon, so keep an eye on the merch site for those. Love their 100% recycled and 100% recyclable material mudguards. Crush, keeping the bike clean as always. Their after spray is the best, keeps that mud from sticking to the frame, so it's just a quick wipe off afterwards. And man, fist gloves, they kept my hands gripping the bars all weekend. And when I was hitting up close to 60, 65k an hour down the fast bits, man, my hands were warm and comfy. So jump over there and grab some fresh gloves. Don't forget to use Beyond the Tape or Beyond the Tape 15 or Beyond the Tape 10. Keep typing in until the code works, and get yourself some discounts on any of those sponsors. Anyway, that's enough of me dribbling. Hope you enjoyed this one from Baxter. Again, it's kind of a relaxed fit episode. We talk about a few different things, so I hope you enjoy. As per usual, grab a beer, grab a wine, grab a water, grab whatever makes you happy, and enjoy the podcast.
Being recorded. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Since when I get a notification saying that you're recording?
They always do it, but it's because it's on Zoom, not Skype, that it yells it at you.
Yeah, nice. You're pretty cooked. I went to Dylan's last night to watch World Camps. A lot of the Maydena crew were up. Like Reece flew up, and Sam and Tyler were already in Victoria, and then Ben Corey was there, Lockie was there, Triffin was there, so it was late night, and then I just been working on the bus all day, so I'm a bit mentally fatigued.
Yeah, I saw Lockie said that he had a fair few to drink.
Yeah, that's probably an understatement. Lockie was swinging making margaritas for because Lockie was a bartender. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, sick.
I think I drank too much. It was just like I don't usually stay up until 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I passed out at like 12. I tried really hard to stay awake for it.
Yeah, I like got home this morning and Dad was like, "Oh, like who won?" And I was like, think about the fact that Loic won.
Dude, I don't know how he did it. Hey,
yeah, I don't even remember his run. I got to go back and watch like top 5 because I think I was like pretty much asleep watching. I don't really remember. So
I think it was like 3 seconds ahead.
Really?
Yeah, like something brutal.
I was actually like, and this could be complete bullshit because, like I said, I was maybe not paying as much attention as what I thought it was, but it seemed like the times weren't that tight on that track.
No, they weren't.
Yeah, like
so Loic was 2.5 seconds ahead from Amory.
Yeah.
And then Loris was like almost a second ahead, second behind Amory.
Yeah. And I reckon highlight for me was watching Ollie Zwar get 6th.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. That was sick. It was about time that bloke.
He's such an underrated rider.
Not anymore.
Yeah. Now that he's doing his own thing and moved to a country that supports cycling.
Crazy.
He's killing it.
Crazy concept.
Mm. But Kai got 17th as well. I'm pretty stoked on that.
Good on him. That's sick. He's done actually really well this season. It looks like that bike works a lot better for him.
I think so. Yeah, for him, for sure.
Him and, maybe a bit of a fire under his ass or something.
I think so, yeah. Dude, and Remy, 2nd in juniors.
Yeah, I saw that. That's awesome. And Sasha what did Sasha get? 16th or something?
6th.
6th.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
That's better than what I thought.
So Jordan Williams was 5 seconds ahead of Remy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And then there was 5 seconds between Sasha and Remy. Man,
Sasha was on a heater.
Yeah. He smashed it.
Hopefully he gets to go do some more racing next year. Although with the rumours that are around about how the season's going to be run, I don't think anyone's going to get to do any racing.
What are you talking about? We've got it's amazing.
Yeah, well, you could probably get there, but then like good luck qualifying top 30.
Nah, that's not happening.
It's not?
Nah, I've had a few chats. It definitely wouldn't happen.
What makes you say that?
Because that's just too big of a change. Like they can't just come in and do all that. It would just be hectic.
Yeah, I suppose so. I'll be honest, I don't really know what's going on, but I just watched like a couple of videos of people talking about stuff and I was like, whoa, that seems brutal.
But like they're apparently going to broadcast juniors and stuff.
Sick. That'll be heaps better.
Yeah. And qualifying, I think.
Yeah, I actually spoke to Jai the other day and we like briefly spoke about the changes that were like just rumours at the time. I suppose there's still rumours now, but like you're probably better off asking Jai about this because I don't exactly remember how he put it all, but he made some really good points that kind of like swayed my perspective of those changes being kind of shitty for the sport to make me think that they actually do pretty good things.
Mm.
That's a very empty statement because I have nothing to back it up with, but
no, you should go listen to Martin Whiteley's episode on downtime.
Okay. Yeah.
Because like he actually goes into it and so ESO, the guys that are kind of taking over the management, are like an event management company and a marketing company and stuff. Yeah. Not like UCI where it's the governing body. So
Yeah.
They're kind of more prone and more motivated to kind of make it a better event, if you know what I mean.
I hope so.
Well, no one wants to make the sport worse.
No, but it's sort of like, who are they making the event better for? Is the question I have. Is it like, are they making it better for spectators? Are they making it better for the riders? Are they making it better for the teams? Are they making it better for privateers? Or are they making it better for all of the above? Like, you know
Who
what I mean?
knows? Yeah.
I
But
think
the new riders union and stuff looks sick. Like those guys kind of sticking up for themselves a bit more.
Yeah, I think that'll be good. Hopefully that makes. We need one of those here in Oz.
Yeah. Then you just get flamed down on comments and get really over the world. Speaking from experience.
Yeah. I think, some conversations that I've had recently with people at Oz Cycling and people that are involved with Oz Cycling, I think there's definitely some changes coming pretty soon. And there's definitely some people that are like on the inside that know that maybe things aren't being run how they should be. But I think those people maybe don't have as much, they don't have as much pull as what they need to actually make things happen.
No, they don't. Like I know a couple of people there that want to make it like way better.
Yeah.
But they just keep getting shut down or moved into different positions and stuff.
Yeah.
It's fucked.
I'd have a feeling that we're talking about the same person. I don't want to name any names though. I'll get myself in trouble.
But did you see like the enduro?
Yeah. What actually happened with that? I just saw a bunch of people complaining about something, but because I'm not racing, it kind of just went over my head.
So, so for example, there's 2 different systems you can use to enter races and register for races in Australia.
Yeah.
One's Entry Boss, which is sick.
Yeah.
Amazing, works really well. And the other one's the Oz Cycling one.
Okay.
I forgot what it's called. And that's what the crew in Melbourne use.
Yeah.
So everyone from like SA, I think New South Wales, like WA, everyone that uses Entry Boss went to enter and asked for all this information for Oz Cycling that no one knew.
Yeah.
So like a couple of crew from under 17s were trying to enter and under 17s sold out in 2 minutes.
Really?
Yeah. So while they were trying to find all their shit.
Yeah. It sold out.
So like our state champion doesn't have an entry. New South Wales state champion doesn't have an entry.
They should make it the same as like national champion gets an automatic entry to like automatic spot on the world's team. They should do the same if you're a state champ. You get it like you just get a definite spot for national champs.
Yeah. So this is what I said to a few people. But so what they did, right, was it sold out and everyone's like, fuck, we didn't get a spot.
Yeah.
Like naturally, right?
Yeah.
But what had happened, and they didn't tell anyone this until 24 hours after the whole shit show went down.
Yeah, they said they're going to allocate more spots or they held spots in reserve or some shit.
Yeah, so they allocated, say, 50, they had 450 max allowed at this event, which is apparently something to do with the council and the trail people. Yeah. Still bullshit. So what they did was they had like 35 per category allocated, so 35 entries.
Yeah.
And then if say Masters women only got 3 entries, then they're reallocating those entries to elite.
Yeah.
So now people have had to go through their club to get expressions of interest so that they can be selected to race.
Yeah, that seems like a bit of a shit show.
Instead of just going, hey, here's the top 5 from every state, let's enter them in their respective categories, then open up the rest for the rest of the people that want to test how good they are.
Yeah. It sounds like it. Like most things, it was not very well thought out. Well, most things of recent times with Oz cycling. I feel like there's been this massive shift and massive change to like a new company or however you want to look at it. And they've kind of been like, here's all these ideas we have. Let's do everything at once now. Sweet, cool. And then people are like, hang on a minute. You haven't really thought this through. How does this stuff work? And then I'm like, oh, yeah. All right, okay.
Like, it still blows my mind that we have two different types of entry system that go to the same company.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even know that. I literally didn't know that there was two different ways you can enter.
Yeah, so the way internationals and stuff is completely different to what most people use at their local series.
Yeah.
So I can enter a race here in 20 seconds.
Because all your information's saved and shit.
Yeah, I literally go enter, I want this class. It's got everything like there.
Yeah.
If I want to scratch, I go to my email, I press a button and then I press scratch.
Yeah.
And it refunds me automatically. The club has to do nothing.
Yeah, that's good as.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot to be learned from the way that like states run their state series.
Yeah, but then like the other thing I have an issue with is that national round is all run by that club from Red Hill.
Yeah.
And literally Not Cycling will send some commentaries down.
Yeah, and Red Hill will probably pay Oz Cycling through the roof.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stress on local clubs. Sure, it can bring some money in, but yeah, it's crazy.
That's the same as Maydena though. Like Maydena runs that event. Like it could run whether cycling are there or not. The only thing we really need Oz Cycling for is to have a commissaire and make it official.
Yeah, that's literally all they need.
But there's not like an avenue for this. Is like, again, I don't have any actual facts on this, but from what I kind of gathered was like there's like a set way that events are run, like from Oz Cycling eyes. It's like, this is how it's done. You pay X dollars and we send these people and yada yada yada. But there's not like, it almost needs to maybe be like a separate like design for clubs or facilities that can cater for the whole entire event from start to finish, like in-house, so to speak.
Yeah. I think like each club should have their own commissaires, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And then there's not enough young people that want to do it. So there's not enough young influence on Oz Cycling at the moment from the mountain bike perspective. And then I think like they need to get a whole marketing department and a whole event management department that specifically works on managing the events and making sure they work.
We actually need some events first.
There is that.
Yeah. They're coming.
I've heard a rumor. Yeah.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah. That's all we can say. But yeah.
I don't know. Is it under embargo?
I don't know. I know there's a big event happening here.
Probably just shouldn't.
Yeah.
Save yourself the lawsuit.
They would have put one in by now. No, I've heard rumors and it's going to be pretty rad. Like I know the one that may or may not be happening close to my house.
Yeah.
Is going to be epic.
Sick.
Like they're investing time.
Yeah.
And the club wants to do something really cool.
Yeah, I've spoken to a couple of different like locations or clubs or whatever, however you want to call it. And everybody's kind of like, if we're going to do this, we're going to put in the effort to like make it as sick as we can.
Yeah.
Because I think like we haven't had races in a while. I feel like if we go down this, maybe we should move on to another topic though.
Yeah. No, I like, but the one thing I want to say though is if every club gets on board, and builds it bigger, and then each event is sick, then each other event is going to want to be better, and it's just going to end up growing to the point where it needs a good, and it'll be sick to see like out of industry sponsorship.
Yeah, for sure. That would be sick, I reckon.
Yeah.
What else has been going on?
Not a lot, man. Just working. Start a new job. Back in the shop, which is sick.
Nice. What
Yeah.
shop?
It's Bicycle Fix here in Woodside.
Sick. Close to the house.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. We're like near Woody. We're across the road from Woody Trails.
Sick.
Like it's 20 meters down the road from us, if that.
Do you guys sell some BMX stuff in there then?
Yeah. BMXs and dirt jumpers for sure.
Mad.
Yeah. Not hectic stuff.
Yeah.
But
that's real cool.
And then it's pretty rad. We've obviously got Trek, Santa Cruz, Pivot, and Rocky.
Yeah, nice.
So like cool shit.
Yeah.
That serves everyone. So it's pretty rad. And GT as well. So
nice.
It's pretty rad. We've got like a little race team and stuff that race on pivots, and it's really like hills country-esque. So all the customers are really chill.
Yeah.
There's a pub across the road. Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Yeah, I went to the when I was in Adelaide and I broke my ankle. I was still there for a couple of days. They had a jam at Woodside Trails, and like I just went and hung out because a bunch of mates were like either running it or riding or whatever. And it was so sick to see that like the local council had like a booth set up and we're running a barbecue for the jam. Like the whole community there is so about the trails. Like having that spot right in the middle of town, and then it's like, sweet, what do you need? Like, yeah, we'll come, we'll bring first aid, or like we'll help you organize like whatever needs to be done just so that they can have a dirt jump spot. And they're like pretty legit jumps.
They are for sure.
Yeah.
But I rode those when I was like 14. That's how long those jumps have been there.
Yeah.
They were like a 6-pack when I was 14.
Yeah.
And now they're, 18 years later, they're legit.
Yeah.
Proper trails.
Yeah. They're not massive, but they're built pretty good. And they're definitely not like council built jumps. Like, like the big line, the big line is like proper doubles, like everything's squared up and looks nice. Like pretty cool. Adelaide does it right in that respect. Like city dirt, but they're not fucking around at city dirt. Those things are huge.
Yeah, but then like you got a proper pump track.
Yeah.
And then you got like your little junior track, and then you've got your intermediate. Like it's all not just that 6-foot drops into 30-foot doubles.
No.
So your dad can go ride the big jumps, and then your son's riding the little jumps, and
that's what
mom's chilling. It's sick.
That's what you need. Like I feel like most places, well, actually, even in saying that, it seems to be slowly changing, but majority of places like they cater to one extreme or the other, but you probably never have jumps. Like there's a perfect example. There's like a set of dirt jumps kind of down the road in Croydon. Back in the day, they were like illegally built, and there was probably like, I don't know, 6+ different lines of like proper doubles. And then they all got flattened, and the council kind of like agreed to dump some dirt there and let the guys build one line, which ended up getting built as like pretty decent sized doubles, but they had heights and stuff. And then now they've been since flattened again and just replaced with tabletops.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, okay, sweet. You do need tabletops and like a roller line or whatever, but you still need the stuff for the other guys that have been riding there for 15 years. Like they built that stuff for a reason. It's because it's not around to ride already.
Yeah. I mean, like we've got a local spot just down the road that was kids building drums. It's actually sick because it's in like a pine tree plantation thing.
Yeah.
So
cool.
It's kind of like Euro trails.
Yeah.
Like you kind of hip through down this hill. And some kids were building some pretty average, shitty little jumps there. And some people kind of petitioned to get them built better.
Yeah.
And so they put in these jumps, these tabletops, and the big line was probably a little bit small for the hill.
Yeah.
And so some kids built it longer and bigger.
Yeah.
So instead of destroying longer and bigger jumps, the council just keeps filling them in to make them tabletops.
Yeah.
So the kids just steal the dirt from the middle of the doubles and
Make
just
it-
build more. And it's
That-
like, it's just a reoccurring process.
Imagine if you didn't have to push barriers and the council just kept coming and giving you more dirt to build your jumps figure.
But they put like one, those crush, like those big tanks of crushed stuff. They put one of them full of water and just cut the top off of it. So like you can go and fill up watering cans and shit because there's no mains water. Like the council did all this. There's like a park bench for parents to sit on.
That's epic.
And 4 lines, so real tiny to kind of big.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's good ass.
I think we're starting to see it happen more here. It's sick.
Adelaide's like in my eyes, Adelaide's always been pretty good, at least on the kind of like BMX or like dirt jump kind of scene. You've had a pretty good variety of stuff to ride, and the council's like pretty proactive in actually building good stuff, or at least allowing good stuff to be built.
Yeah, this is true. Even our like trails, I know I've said they're pretty shit sometimes, and that's mainly the big kind of blue trails, but none of our sketchy stuff really gets shut down that often unless it's on private property.
Yeah. I rode some pretty gnarly shit when I was in Adelaide, and you're like right behind some houses, and there's just like Brownies, for example, was so hectic for where it is.
So Brownies is actually finally getting shut down.
I heard that like 3 years ago though.
No, they've put in like wood fences and shit now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's been a couple of helis out there and stuff, and it's getting pretty fucking gnarly.
That's probably fair enough.
Yeah. It's more of an insurance thing, I think. Yeah. Like the guy that owns the property, I don't think really cares, but then if someone axes themselves and some mum sues him and stuff.
Yeah, that's understandable.
But then we've got the kids will just go find another hill. Like it's no biggie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the kids have been going nuts here. I live next to, or mum and dad live next to like an abandoned golf course. And over COVID, like I started building some stuff in there, like just kind of on the fringe of it. Found like I built this big hip in there in like gully, and then kids just started building jumps, like just classic kid jumps, but like not smart about where they did it. They just built it in the middle of a fairway. It's been abandoned for probably like 8 years, mind you. So it's not, it's not a big deal. But now recently there's a couple of kids. There's one kid called Mitch and another kid called Taj, I think. Taj. I don't really know how to say his name. But they've been going ham in there, like building so much stuff, and they're like properly squaring it up. Like it all looks really That's
like, so rad.
Good to see. And then there's a dude that owns a coffee shop here in Emerald. His name is Matt, and like him and his crew, they're kind of like older dudes, but they like built a bunch of stuff in there as well. So they're pumped that the younger crew are coming. Throwing some shovels finally.
That's so good.
Yeah. But like if that got shut down, so I think that whole crew that's digging down there, they've got enough of a bug that if it gets shut down, they're just like, we'll just go build somewhere else.
Yeah. We'll just build in the same spot again.
Yeah, because it's private property though. And the dude who owns it, he doesn't really mind because I think he's got young kids. So,
yeah, okay. Yeah.
Like people are building jumps for my kids to ride. That's sick. One day it'll all come to an end, but like for the moment, it's pretty cool that he just lets it happen.
Yeah, that's rad. It's actually a good transition. Let's talk about building shit because you built some pretty little jumps recently. Okay, 2 months ago, 3 months ago,
6 months ago. Well, we finished filming in April, and so I would have built them basically as soon as I had like a couple of days off after national champs. I went and sat in a digger for 15 days straight.
Yeah, true. Yeah, okay.
We built. Well, it wasn't 15 days straight. It was 15 days consecutively around the weather.
Yeah.
So we built those. Just to clarify, we're talking about Notion.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. Yeah. A little video you did.
You haven't seen it, go watch it. But yeah, that was like, man, it was insane. Hey, like, I still can't believe that I got to just build that shit.
Dude, that, like, I think you sent me a video of you guys, someone testing it.
Yeah.
And that was one of the first things you showed me. And I was just like, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
the video of someone testing it and crashing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so large. I'm like, it's not going to happen.
No, it worked mint.
Did it? I thought you shortened it. Or was that a different jump?
Yeah, it worked mint the first time I jumped it.
Was that when it was drier and a little bit faster?
Yeah, so backstory to that, and like that was, I posted that crash video the other day actually. So Rowan has basically, he's been like Hobart forever, and he's like pretty big part of the riding scene down there. Mm-hmm. And he used to build, or him and his crew used to build heaps of stuff around, and like they had, can't exactly remember where, like that was before I ever went to Tassie, but I've seen some photos of like this spot that they had where there was some pretty big shit, but it was on private property or council property or whatever. So anyway, it came to an end and it got dozed. And pretty much from what I've spoken to Rowan, like that kind of just like made him set a goal to buy a property that was suitable and buy an excavator. And long story short, he's like worked his ass off and bought this like insane property with like literally the best dirt that I've ever dug with. You got like 20-ton excavator buckets just full of pure clay, no rock inside.
That's insane.
Yeah, and he got a 20-ton excavator and a 1.7-ton excavator. I think he's got a posi track on the way, and like he uses it for his work a little bit, but like the primary reason that he bought all that shit was just to build jumps. And
that's sick.
Yeah, so they already had a jump line out there, and he'd sort of just dug this lip into the embankment, as like the start of like a different line, a big line or whatever. So that was where I started digging, and I kind of built, like the lip was sort of there. I just reshaped it, made it a bit taller, and then just put the landing kind of where I thought it was going to be, but it was too wet to actually like even do a run in before I put the landing there. And then we got way too toey and started doing run-ins to the jump. And yeah, Ollie was like, yeah, sweet, I reckon it's going to work. And just like rode off the lip. The lip was so soft. There was like a bog hole in the middle of it. And yeah, thought it would be a good idea. And I'm spewing that I'm kind of, I don't know, in like a selfish way, I'm sort of pumped that he did it because it meant that I didn't have to do that. But at the same time, it sucked because like he didn't break anything, but he hurt his ankle pretty bad, and like he didn't get to ride any of the other jumps. It put him out for the whole time that I was building and riding. It would have been so epic to see him ride. Like, yeah, would have been epic to ride the jumps with him. But pretty much, yeah, the lip was just boggy as, and I kind of thought that it was on. Like I was going to jump it, and then yeah, Ollie just beat me to it, and I'm glad he did. And then I shortened it, waited for it to actually dry, and then jumped it, and yeah, it worked me.
So, how tall was that lip, and how long was the lip? Because that's the thing. Like those lips seem really long and floaty. Where am I wrong on that?
That jump we're talking about right now, it's like the first big one. Like it's a slight right hip, a fair bit of a step up. I didn't want that to be too gnarly because I've never built anything this big before, like not even remotely close. I think the only thing I've built that is like similar is probably the jumps at the bottom of the downhill track at Maydena. But comparatively, like, they're not even close to as big as what these jumps were. The step up at the bottom of the fire road's probably a similar length.
Okay.
But like the lip is only, it's like barely 6 foot tall. Like and you kind of just skip over it. Like, whereas these lips are all, the first one, we didn't measure anything. Just to clarify, the first lip is like 12 foot tall, roughly.
Okay.
There's a photo of me standing at the bottom of it that Stu took, and I think that's like the best perspective, and you can definitely stack 2 of me.
Yeah, and you're about 6'3".
Yeah, 6'3" or something. Yeah, so it's somewhere in the ballpark at like 12 foot. And it's got a pretty long radius. It was longer, and I shortened it a bit because I wanted you to go higher. But then the next one, like that step up kind of in the trees, that is absolutely not a long takeoff for like how fast you're going. Like, it feels pretty quick.
It's because you're doing like 900k an hour.
Yeah, I reckon you're probably going into it at like 50k an hour, roughly.
Yeah, that's insane.
And it's a little bit taller. I think it's probably like 13 or 14 foot. And that one we kind of did measure. We kind of can't really measure the exact height, but we got like the angles of it. So I didn't, because of the basically like winter encroaching on us. And as you're aware, like Tassie summer is not very long. It's like maybe 3 weeks.
3 days, maybe. It's like a long weekend, right?
So we're sort of like, I didn't really have time to like build things and then test them and then tweak them too much and then like wait for it to dry and then ride it, blah, blah. Like the first jump, I did have a bit of time. I like built it. We like figured out that it was too long, and then I could change it and let it sit whilst I was like still building the rest of it. But like that big step up in the trees, I pretty much had to build it and just fucking hope that it worked. So we measured the angle of that takeoff so that I could kind of just get an idea of like what the first takeoff felt like. We measured the angle of that, and I think it was like 56 degrees at the top. And then the one at the bottom was 58.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, it's similar. It's a little bit steeper. I was just, trying to get like a good gauge of what it was going to feel like the first time I went off it. But at the same time, I had no fucking idea. I got so off track. What was the question?
I was asking about length and the.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So like, but I want to know, like, how do you get those radiuses and the lengths down? So obviously the shallower the radius and the longer the jump, you're going to be coming off the lip slower, right? Because it's going uphill for longer. Or does it not matter because the steeper lip just soaks up that energy quicker anyway?
It's, in theory, yes, what you're saying is correct.
Yeah.
But in practice, yes, it is correct, and also no, it's not correct. It's just not that simple, I don't think.
Yeah.
If you've got the same height takeoff, so say the takeoff's 10 foot tall, and you've got one radius that's like super long and super mellow, then probably, yes, you're going to be like going off the top of the lip slower because you are going uphill for longer, and you're also not going to be able to actually pump the transition because it's too long. Whereas if you took that same height takeoff and made the transition steeper and a bit quicker, then you're going to lose less speed. You're actually probably going to be able to generate speed off of it. But also you're only going to go up and you're not going to go very far.
Yeah.
So, but then if you have the same speed, if you're like, it depends what you're trying to achieve. If you're trying to achieve the same speed off the top of the takeoff, then all it would mean is like if it's longer and slacker, it wouldn't be as tall. Whereas if it's steeper, shorter, it would just have to be taller. So does that kind of answer the question? I think so. Yeah. But in terms of how I got to those radiuses,
you just guessed it.
Yeah. like quite literally. It was a very informed and educated guess. But the way that I kind of approached it, because I was like, okay, I've never built anything like this before. I can't really build it smaller and then gradually build it bigger until I'm like happy with how big it is. I just have to build it as big as I want it to be to start with. And the hill that we're on kind of like gave us like a set size that shit had to be anyway. I was like, let's slow it down, either like put more features in and more corners to like manage speed, or just point it downhill a little bit more and build it huge, which we went for option B.
It seems that way.
And I just kind of was like, I knew what I wanted the jumps to feel like, which was more, I just wanted to feel like a giant BMX jump. So like the way that Will Kerr, my good friend, he is part 1 of 2 of Valley View Trails in Young. And he calls it, he's coined the term the lip to loft ratio.
That's so good.
Like videos of mountain bike jumps and just be like, lip to loft ratio on this is fucked, like doesn't work. and basically, like, to quickly explain that, it's the lip to loft ratio is essentially the ratio of like how high in the air you go or how tall the takeoff is. So the minimum it should be is like 1-to-1. So if you've got like a 10-foot tall takeoff, you should at least go 10 foot in the air. But generally speaking, a lot of mountain bike jumps that I've ridden personally, you'll have like a 12-foot tall takeoff and you might be lucky to go like 8 or 10 foot in the air.
Yeah.
So whereas like BMX jumps are like almost the opposite a lot of the time, like especially old school ones, you'll have like a 4-foot takeoff and you'll get like, if you're roasting it, you'll get like 10 foot out of it. Like,
it's insane.
So I wanted to go for more of that like BMX style feeling jump. So having a 14-foot lip, I was aiming to go at a bare minimum 14 foot out of it. So they were always going to be like a bit tighter transitions, a bit taller and steeper, rather than going for distance. I didn't really care how far I was traveling. I just cared how high I was going, basically.
Full Snoop Dogg principles.
Yeah, and I think the first big jump didn't quite hit the mark. It ended up being a bit too long, so I couldn't get. Like it felt nice, but it felt like a mountain bike jump. And the one in the trees, that big step up, felt like how I wanted it to feel like. Like you just go at that thing as fast as you want. The faster you went, the more you pulled back.
So is this trail a DHT trail?
It's DHBMX.
Or is it BMTB?
It's MTBMX.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm so confused. There's so many acronyms for this thing.
That one. MTBMX. I reckon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll invent a new sport.
I was going with BMTB, but
BMTB. Oh yeah, that works. Yeah, who fucking, I don't know. I just built jumps and I rode on a mountain bike.
you went and had fun. That's all that matters.
It's been done before. Like, I don't know. I think the only thing that was like really unique about this project was the fact that it's in Tasmania, and probably more broadly speaking that it was done in Australia. Like, there's not too many projects where people are building stuff this big in Australia, like for video projects especially. I know of a few different spots around where there's jumps that are probably a similar size. I've not ridden them, so I don't know if they ride the same, but like, I'm not the first person to build big jumps and ride them on a mountain bike. I'm not going to be the last person to do it. Like, I'm definitely going to do it again, but I think it's still like pretty crazy, pretty special to have been able to like kind of get that opportunity to do it and then go and do it like in the way that we did.
So when you're hitting these big jumps, most people are thinking you're probably doing it on the sender because it's basically in the name, right? But you did it on the Spectral, yeah?
Yeah, 150 mil trail bike. Sorry, enduro bike.
Oh, I thought it was an all mountain bike.
It's a mountain bike.
Yeah, okay, sick.
Yeah, I did it on Spectral.
Why? Like, dude, that's pretty epic. And I think it testifies to how good bikes are these days.
Yeah, there's a few reasons. None of them are very good. I basically, like I said earlier, like from the moment national champs finished, I turned all of my focus to this. I kind of been like chipping away at it in the background, like doing all the, all the planning and like organizing kind of stuff. But in the meantime, like leading into national champs, I pretty much spent 2 months just riding my downward bike almost, every time I went riding was on my downward bike. And I had that thing set up very specifically for racing. And to be like, to put it simply, I was just excited to ride something different. So, and then the other part of the equation was, I think the first day that it was dry enough to go and ride some stuff, which was just riding like the existing jumps that were already there. I didn't have forks for my downward bike because Nigel was servicing them.
Yeah, okay.
I was like, oh, well, just like they're still big jumps, like what Rowan's got there. But those dudes, they're riding them on trail bikes anyway. So I was like, oh, I'll just go ride on my trail bike. And I was like, hey, this like feels fine. And then I think I hadn't gone and picked my forks up from Nigel yet because I'd been like busy building. Obviously all the way in Maydena, these jumps are like out in the Huon Valley. So it's like a fair distance.
At least an hour.
Yeah. And yeah, first day that we were testing shit, I was just like doing run-ins on my trail bike and I was like, I just didn't feel like I was underbiked, basically. I set it up super stiff, super slow, pumped tires up, like it felt comfortable. I was like, once I start riding the big jumps and maybe, if I case some shit or I overjump some stuff or whatever, and I feel like I'm getting sketchy because I'm on a small bike, then like
you got a big jump.
But like I tagged that first jump a couple times. I've like overjumped it a bit, and yeah, long story short, I just didn't feel like I was under bike, so I was in no rush to jump on my downward bike because I didn't feel like I needed to.
What was setup like? for that bike? Did you just pump everything up to max and let it go?
I put 100 pounds stiffer spring in the back.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And then compression was fully closed. Rebound was fully closed. I pumped my forks up like similar to what I did on the shock, which was, I went up like 2 weights. So say I got my bike set up for, I usually have it set up a bit stiffer anyway. So I've got it set up for like a 90 kilo rider or whatever. I weigh about 80.
Mm-hmm.
So I set it up for, 100 to 120 kilo rider or something.
Yeah.
And then same thing, compression was fully closed and rebound was fully closed. So car park test, it felt like a bad shit. Yeah, it felt terrible. I tried to ride around a corner. But then I went off a jump and I was like, this is sick.
Yeah.
You can pump stuff and generate speed so good, and it doesn't get bogged down in the lip. Like it felt heaps more similar to riding a dirt jump bike.
Yeah, right. Did you have to inflate your tires to stupid pressures or do anything like that as well? Because I expect the G-forces going up like that step up would have been fucking ridiculous. Yeah.
My legs were like getting pretty tired of riding that thing by the end of the day. I think I had like 60 PSI in my minions or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty high.
I should have had downhill casing tires on. I still just had like travel tires on. I think, I just had like an Assegai on the front and a DHR2 on the back. And they were just, like travel casing. But realistically, I could probably run a downhill casing and then only run like 50 PSI or something.
But then I wonder about weight.
Yeah.
And the maneuverability in the air. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was the other like part of the reason why I was pretty happy with was because like once up in the air, it made it feel more like I was just riding big jumps on a small bike, like when you're riding BMX jumps.
It's none of this computes in my head, if I'm 100% honest with you. Did you ask yourself at all? Like, were there any big moments?
Nah, because we played it pretty safe. There was some stuff, relatively speaking, we played it pretty safe. There was some stuff that I had planned that I wanted to do if we had have had the timeline kind of go a bit more to how I wanted it to go. Long story short, I was like figuring out if the jumps worked whilst we were filming.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that step up in the middle, I jumped that for the first time like halfway through filming. So I was hoping to have built the jumps, ridden them for a month or something, got them like fully dialed in, got comfy on them, like learnt some tricks or whatever, and then filmed.
Yeah.
But it was pretty much, here's the jumps, we're filming next week, figure it out.
Stick.
Which was, ended up being fine. I think it just leaves a lot more in the tank.
I heard rumours of not rumours, it's in an article, but a quarter pipe that you wanted to build?
Yeah, I wanted to build, so it would have gone, we'll jump and step up, and instead of that big right-hand berm, I wanted to build a quarter pipe to like slightly banked landing, and then it would have gone like a couple rollers and then joined back in as it did. But just again, like I couldn't risk building something and then it just not working and having like, there's not really any way that you can save the quarter pipe if it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And it would have also like completely destroyed that area if I had built a quarter and then knocked it down and built a berm. It would have just been like this fucking dead zone of like shit, whereas that berm we could make it look pretty nice and sort of landscape it on the inside a little bit, and it was a bit more of like a visual feature. So yeah, we kind of went with that. But I didn't, in terms of crashes, no, I didn't have any crashes. I got a pretty gnarly case of like fatigue on the first. Like basically we had to cut the filming in half and have a week off in the middle because I just needed some fucking rest.
Yeah.
But apart from that, it was pretty smooth sailing. I cased that step up one time and had a crash. But because of like how up and down it is rather than like long and fast, the crash was like pretty chill considering, because I kind of like landed on the deck, bottomed out, lost all my momentum, and then just kind of fell down the landing.
Yeah.
Apart from that, it was like, pretty smooth sailing.
What's it feel like? Did you basically stop at the top of that jump?
Yeah, that was the goal.
Like you just get sent to the moon, have a cup of tea at the top, and then come back down.
Yeah, it feels absolutely insane.
It's like do you get that weird feeling, when you're on like a roller coaster and you start to drop? Did you get that at all, or are you just like?
No, I never actually got that. I think it's because you're in control of everything that's happening.
Yeah, truth.
But I don't know. Anyone that was there like the first afternoon when we kind of like unlocked that jump and had a session on it, but I had a session on it. Rowan's the only person that's jumped that, like ridden down the hill down that way.
Yeah.
And he's only done the jumps once, which was that clip. Like that clip I posted the other night was the first time Rowan jumped that jump, and also the last time that he jumped it. Jumped it, ticked it off. I feel like he probably had a bit of pressure on himself because in his backyard, and like he's like contributed a fair bit to this build. So I think he really wanted to tick it off, and he ticked it off and got pretty drunk afterwards. Sorry, where was he going? He stalled out. Yeah. It feels like, it feels ridiculous. Like anyone that was there the first day that we had like actually unlocked that jump and had a proper session, like I literally could not wipe the smile off my face. Like my like cheekbones and my cheeks and my jaw was like literally sore from just smile. Like you just land and just smile all the way back to the top of the hill, drop in.
That's so good.
Go through, just like go as fast as you fucking could, pull back, go real high, be up in the air, just being like, holy fuck, I'm a long way up here. And then and then land, and then you'd just be like giggling to yourself and smiling, and you just run back up to the top of the hill, do it again. It was so sick. The only way it could have been better is if we had like a massive crew and everyone else could like experience the same shit.
Yeah. Yeah. What was the crew like? Because you had Rowan, you had Nick Hills was there a bit as well from what I saw, what he told me as well.
Yeah. Hillsy, I think he got a bit of time off conveniently during that time. So he was out there as much as he could, like either literally just hanging out. So there all day by myself, or like he was, slapping some burns or like helping me shape some shit or whatever it was. Rowan was like in and out a lot of the time because it's his property and he's runs his own business. So and he's also at the time he was building like a big shed out the back of his property. So he was like there on and off, like either it was like a massive part of that project, really. Just kind of like handling a lot of the shit that like gets in the way, so to speak. Like he'd be or like, helping me grease the big machine, or most of the time just in the big machine while I had some food, or like he was like a massive part of that whole build going like pretty smooth.
Mm-hmm.
So it was epic to have him there. And then the whole riding crew that ride out there were just like, they were all nosy and keen to see what was going on. So there'd be dudes like rocking up, after work, either to ride the other jumps, and that was cool because I'd just be sitting in the digger building a huge jump, watching people ride big jumps.
Yeah,
or we had a bonfire and a barbecue and stuff once. I'd kind of finished all the machine work and drank some beers, and everyone kind of like hooked into helping me tidy up some stuff and slap some berms and a few lips and landings and stuff. Josh Johnston was out there a little bit. He helped with like just kind of having a set of eyes that were experienced.
Okay.
Because he's like worked on the joyride course at Crankworks. He's been a trail builder professionally for quite a while and worked overseas, like in Canada and stuff. So having somebody that has built stuff of like a similar scale and has ridden stuff of a similar scale, just to stand there and reassure me that I wasn't like going crazy with how big I was trying to build. That was super helpful. And then like test days, just having Nick Hills there, like, or Josh, or like a few of the other boys, like even if they weren't actually up on the roll-in getting geared up to jump shit, just having somebody else on the roll-in like there with you makes such a big difference.
Just your hype boys.
And like it was pretty different going from testing that first jump that Ollie brained himself on, because everybody could jump the setup jumps and everybody could get to the takeoff.
Mm-hmm.
So we could people would be doing a run in while I'm pushing back, really see, what this looks like and that kind of shit. Which made it heaps easier for me to jump that jump, and also for me to tweak it once we realized that it was too long. But then when it came to jumping the step up, nobody had jumped the first jump yet.
Yeah.
So I couldn't watch somebody else go up to just do a run into the lip to kind of gauge speed. It was that was where having Flinders and Josh and Nick and stuff there just to watch me and take videos and shit and kind of be nah, it all looks good. I trust their opinion as much as my own. So that was super crucial, just having your buddies there.
Yeah.
Actually, they weren't riding, just hanging up and reassuring you.
And you filmed with you got mail. You filmed with Jenny English, and you had a couple. Was he shooting photos as well?
Jared? No, we had Stu Gibson shooting photos.
That's right. Yeah.
Stu's the maddest frother. He came out for I said to him, I was oh, just come out for a half a morning, and then we'll get you back for another half day or whatever, because we were only shooting sunrise.
Yeah, okay.
There's no sunset at that spot, and the light turns to shit at around about 10 o'clock. So we pretty much had a window from 6:30 until 10, and that was all we could shoot because the light was so different after that. That was a pretty gnarly thing. It was jumping through that line at 7 o'clock in the morning as you warm up.
I was about to say, what a day to wake up. What a way to wake up for the day.
Heaps better than a coffee.
I guarantee it.
We had Jared. He was shooting the video and took a lot of the off-bike scene. Well, all of the off-bike scenes were all his creative baby. And then we had a couple of locals from Hobart. So we had Michael, who came out and was B cam for a day, and then another young kid called Noah, who's like a FPV drone pilot.
Yeah.
Builds his own drones and stuff. So all the FPV, like fast-paced drone footage, was filmed by Noah. And then Stu came out for a half a day and then ended up being the first one there every single morning and just like came for the whole shoot and shot photos and just like helped out with whatever he could. And he also shot a bit of drone stuff, but his drone stuff's like the more stationary, like kind of stuff.
So he was just frothing it.
It was pretty cool. Yeah.
How do you organize all that stuff? Because it's not like you guys have got like a project manager for all that.
I don't. It wasn't organized very well at all.
Yes, sick.
I don't know. I just had to figure it out as I went, I suppose. This project realistically wasn't maybe organized how it should have been, but I think I organized it as I could. I think Jack probably in a normal shoot would have a lot more to do with the organization, but we didn't have an unlimited budget, so it's a lot of time that I'd rather be paying him to film, sort of thing. And also it was it would have been a lot of time for him to help with all the pre-planning stuff for a project that we weren't actually sure was going to happen. So I pretty much just had to figured it out, ask questions. Jared guided me a bit. The other people kind of guided me a little bit, but that is just winged it. I put it all, I suppose, the process from start to finish was essentially I put it all into a proper proposal document, or as proper as I could muster up, which had a breakdown of what I thought the costs involved would be, what the project would be, roughly what brands would Canyon and Fox could look to get out of it, I guess. And then put that to the Canyon were Darryl was already going to help me out with some travel costs to go to Crankworks last year, but because of basically my flights got cancelled because of COVID, so I couldn't go. Darryl committed to the project within 6 hours because he kind of had already allocated some funding for me, so to speak, in the marketing budget. So that was super easy and just basically good timing. And then pitched it to Fox. We kind of went back and forth with a few ideas, and then they came on board. And then once we got the go ahead, I just waited for national champs to be over and got stuck into building it, I guess.
How did it? Was it always the plan to go up on the Canyon YouTube, the Canyon Global YouTube?
Yes, it was always the plan, but not one that weird delay. That was a bit awkward, but that was definitely much more my fault than it was theirs.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I was sweet, we'll put it on the Canyon YouTube, and Darryl was cool, then no worries. And then we pretty much just I didn't give them enough lead time, so I kind of dropped it on them with not enough notice, and I've since been enlightened into some of the workings of how far ahead they plan their content.
Well, you mean it's not they just throw shit up once a day?
I knew that they didn't do that, but I did.
Was it
how structured and how far it was? But massive thanks to Darryl from Canyon for helping sort that out last minute when things got a bit weird, because I was cool, video's going to drop, and then I was there's no video. So it was always the plan, but I suppose I just didn't. It was a bit of an oversight of the time zones, I think. So sorry to everyone that I had some dude message me and he was like, "Can't believe this. I took the day off work. Where's this video?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And obviously he was joking, but I would be
Yeah, I was
pretty
nearly going
pissed
to
off.
message you and ask for a refund.
Yeah.
Just
Uh,
because.
Chris Redshaw from like, did you see what he posted?
No.
He just put up a story and there's a black screen with like my name plastered across the front of it. And it just said, "We're all waiting."
He is one of the best humans I've ever met. How was
on the podcast?
Sorry?
Has Chris been on the podcast?
No.
You should get him on for sure. The dude's got some gnarly stories.
Oh, 100% he would.
Yeah.
Would not expect anything less.
And the most surprising thing that I found about him was that he doesn't drink alcohol.
Yeah.
We were like partying at Cannonball one year and he was like, "Oh, I'll just have lemonade." I was like, "Oh, you tapering off?" He's like, "No, I don't drink." I was like, "What do you mean? It's like 2 a.m. He's like, "Oh, I just don't drink. Just drink lemonade." So I was like, "Oh, you're like the gnarliest looking dude here." I was
Yeah. I feel like he doesn't need it. He's just got that natural party boy.
He's G. Anyway, sorry, what were you saying?
That actually kind of leads me on to something. What was the reception like? Were you nervous putting it out there, I guess? And then
yeah, I was shitting myself because like we put so much time in this, and it's what if it's just a massive flop? It's I was like stressing, sort of doing the numbers. I was like, it's not the best time of the year that we could be posting it. World Champs is on. There's an EWS in between. Crackworks has just been. There's like another EWS coming up. I was like crammed in all these different events and like, but it's been pretty crazy. Once I put out like the first couple of teasers, and my Instagram pretty much just exploded from how it's been going recently, which is the algorithm's been killing it. Yeah, once those first teasers come out and like there was a bit of hype built, like it was pretty overwhelming, like the positive response from people just like getting in touch, you know, just saying that they're excited or like sharing the teasers and that kind of stuff. So yeah, big thanks to the whole like broader riding community for getting around it, because that made me sleep a lot easier at night.
Well, it looks like it's like, 4.5K views on their YouTube, plus you can always plus or minus 10% for other avenues as well, which is, it's pretty sick.
Yeah, I went and clicked on it the other day and I was like, oh, it had like 3.5 or whatever at that stage. And I was like, it doesn't seem like that much. But then I kind of went through some of their other videos and kind of compared views to see how it was going. And I was like, there's some videos on there that have got, 25,000 views, and there's other ones that have 2,000. I was like, okay, it's just like it kind of fits in, which was, I think that was like my biggest fear with its reception of like, how's it going to fare scale? Because in terms of like, I know my like all the people here in Australia that I actually have physical interactions with, people were pretty excited about it. But was it just exciting because we haven't had anything like that local? And if it went out to, the world, was the rest of the world going to be just as excited about it, kind of thing? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, like, I kind of gauge that by maybe showing those photos that you told me not to show anyone. But I was like, it's really important people in the industry. A couple of mates down at the pub. I was like, am I just stoked because this is you? Or like, what's the deal? And I showed some people and they're just like, holy shit. They're like, where is that? And I'm like, Tassie. And they're like, what? Like, it just opened people's minds. And I think it does open people's minds to what you can do when you just find a place and you get an excavator and you.
I think it's just like, it's I don't know. It's just when you just go after what you want.
Yeah.
I've literally, since the moment that I started getting a little bit of like interest in video projects, like if you want to really wind it back, like the way that I got into mountain biking was by watching coastal crew videos on YouTube. I started racing straight away because that was just like what you did. There's no free ride in Australia, or that I knew of at that point. But like my introduction was dudes building shit and filming video parts. So that's like always for, I'm 23 now, so I ride when I was 12. So it's like 11 years that has been like pretty much my dream. And I suppose just been kind of chipping away at it, like every new contract season or whatever, I've like tried to either get some budget to film one video, or like, you know, have it up or whatever it's and I've like worked up to the point where I can pitch this idea and, you know, get a little bit of actual budget to help pay like a legit filmer for a good few days, and like pay Rowan a little bit for like hiring the excavator off him. And like Rowan like still chipped in massively. Like he pretty much shouted us the fuel.
Yeah, right. At least it was cheap at the time, right?
Yeah. And like I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how I could ever repay him for that, but yeah, like if you want to do something, just figure it out and make it happen somehow.
What is your next project? Other than, you know, rebuilding the motor in your van, what's your next project?
Dude, don't even get me started on that. Eh? I'm sitting in it right now. It's the only quiet spot I've got to do a podcast. My next project, well, I'm actually not sure, if I'm completely honest. I've only just done this one. Fucking settle down, would you?
No, you did it 6 months ago. It only just came out.
Yeah.
Get a hustle on.
Yeah, I'm not sure. When's this podcast going to be coming out, by the way?
End of the week.
Yeah.
Maybe?
End of the week.
Works.
But yeah. Well, it doesn't matter anyway. Well, I kind of didn't organise any new projects because at the end of this month, my Fox contract finishes.
Yeah, so in 3 days.
Yeah. And I will no longer be riding for Fox.
Bombshells, team rumors. I'm going to chuck that straight up onto Vital.
Yeah.
Just going to do that right now.
And I wish I had a team rumor to be like, this is where I'm going, but I don't. I haven't organised anything. Like I'm not just jumping straight into another contract with someone else, basically. So I didn't.
Is that why you're starting your OnlyVans contract?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So obviously these things like cost money. I have no money. So I couldn't really jump into organising another project straight away with Fox, for example. Could be a project that we've spoken about briefly with Canyon, but that's more of a Canyon project, less of a Maya project, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So yeah, I haven't planned anything major yet. Kind of wanted to see how this project got the response to this project, and then be like, this was worthwhile, and then I can take that, you know, to new sponsors or current sponsors and say, like, this is the return that we got, like this is the response that we got, this is why we're doing, or it might have just been a bit of a flop. It's like, cool, the best thing for us to be spending money on. Doesn't mean I'm not going to go and ride these jumps more, or like go and film other shit, but just meant that I kind of waited before organising anything major.
Man, I want to go shoot photos of this place. Looks so sick. Yeah. Just send my boss an email. We'll get it happening.
Are you coming over for Enduro Jam?
I am, but I'm there from Thursday till Monday.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be really keen to see if Rowan would be interested in having like an event there, like a fest series style event.
Like Farm Jam? Like a Farm Jam style thing would be sick.
Yeah, but there's nothing else. We'd have to build a fuckload of shit if we're going to have a Farm Jam style setup.
You got time.
No, I don't. But yeah, having like I don't think it would be a fest series. I'm not in with that crew, but like have some kind of like, you know, big air event, try and get some pros over, make a bit of a thing of it. Like that would be pretty sick. I've like very, very briefly mentioned it to Rowan ages ago before we even knew the jumps worked. But like that would be pretty cool. I'm not really sure how that would logistically work, and it would probably cost a fair bit of money.
That's why you just get sponsors on board.
Yeah.
That's why you go to Ford and you're just like, hey, Ford, we're going to throw this thing. Can we use a couple of Rangers? And we'll take heaps of sick videos of your Rangers carrying bikes up the hills.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. That would be
like, yeah.
We've got to keep one.
You could put the motor in your bus.
Yeah. That was awesome. So that went fully off topic. I don't even know where that question started.
Neither I don't remember. But I think it's something to do with events. It would be sick to see some event like that, like a mini outing irons, just a jam session, a bunch of crew, you know, like have all the slope style boys down, get a couple of downhillers down there.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be epic.
Like low key, I reckon Connor Fearon would shred that place.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Like low key, I really want to see him go right there.
I also think that the way that the jumps are built, I mean, Connor would be fine because I've ridden city dirt with him. I know that he can ride dirt jumps, but the way that the jumps are built, you'd have to be somewhat. I'm not saying, I don't know, I'm trying not to like make them sound exclusive or like pump my tires up too much, but they're like just very specific kind of features. Like a lot of downhill riders that maybe don't have experience riding dirt jumps of like any size, I'm not sure how comfortable I'd be sending them off that kind of stuff, because quite literally like that big one, you just ride it the same as you ride the dirt jumps at Maydena, except it's bigger, but it feels like quite similar. Like the lip's bigger, but you're going faster. So that like quite quick, like poppy feeling plates over. And I would hate to see somebody with like a bike that's not maybe set up right, no experience with steep lips, just like send themselves into a front flip of death.
I'd love to, like Bernard Kerr, Kate Edwards, those style of crew.
Cade would rip that place to shreds.
Oh, it'd be ridiculous.
Yeah.
But then like having riders like R-Dog and those guys that can ride Whistler super steezy.
Yeah. I'd like to, get, I don't know, I do have a list in my phone of like dream of like the athletes that I'd want to invite.
Yeah. Cool. No, you should definitely have them.
Yeah.
I know they all listen to us on here, so.
Yeah, well, hopefully the dude from Ford's listening as well.
Yeah, for sure.
It will only probably cost us like $1 million.
Yeah, it's honestly like if you think about the grand scheme of things,
drop in the ocean for them.
Yeah. I want, like, if you think about how much they drop on a Super Bowl commercial or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, it would be nothing. I mean, obviously, we don't have the same size viewer base as the Super Bowl. We're a couple of hundred short, I think. So
yeah, 1 or 2 short. Are you going to Crankworks?
No.
Oh, what? Why not?
Way too expensive.
Yeah,
Can't get time off. So literally, like, yeah, I can't get time off because everyone is away from work, and I literally started 2 months ago. So
yeah, that old chestnut.
It's unfair for me to request work off when I'm 2 months into a job, and these guys booked it off 6 months ago.
Yeah. I've spoken to like quite a few people that are like, oh no, I can't go. It's like too expensive, too far to do whatever. Like, why? Do you have any understanding of why Cairns is our mecca of like international events in Australia? Like, we had the World Cup there, we had World Champs there, now we got Crankworks there. It's so fucking far away.
I don't get it. Like, I don't.
It's nice and all, but like logistically, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
It may as well be in another country.
Yes. Like, for me to get there is an absolute pain in the dick.
Even if you're from like Brisbane, you're not going to fucking drive there.
No, it doesn't make sense. I'd rather go to WA, to be honest with you.
Yeah, at least you feel like you're flying for a reason.
And then, I mean, I don't want to shit on it, but due to the people running it, I want to see how it goes for the first year.
Yeah, I've had a lot of like brands that I've spoken to that are kind of in the same mindset. They're like, oh yeah, we're not going to go this year. We'll kind of see how it goes.
Yeah. Not to shit on it. I don't want to shit on it, but I think it's sick. I think there's a lot of people going that are going to get stoked on bikes.
Oh man, I'm just keen to ride that whip-off jump setup that
yes
has been built in. It's like 2 sick jumps in a row.
I wish I could go on Lotchie and ride that, but and honestly, like, if I'm going to spend that much money, I'll get my passport back and go to New Zealand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. For the price that it costs you to get to Cairns, you go to Queenstown.
Yeah, way cheaper and quicker for me to get there from SA than it is for me to get up to Cairns.
Really?
Probably.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
It's only like half an hour further than Tassie.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So
I don't know why more people from Australia don't just go to Queenstown for like you could logistically make it worthwhile to go to Queenstown for a long weekend.
Yes. Yeah.
It's different to go. Like, I used to, when I lived in Thredbo, like when I was working up there, I would drive home on the weekends every now and then. And like, for me to drive from Thredbo to my house in Melbourne is like 7.5, 8 hours. For me to get from my house in Melbourne to the airport and then fly to New Zealand is about the same time.
Yeah. Well, it's 15 hours for me to get to Thredbo because I can't fly there.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just go to New Zealand.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And considering I can get to Maydena in like 5 hours, realistically, like, it's an hour, it's 40 minutes for me to get to airport, a couple of hours to fly over there, hour and a bit to Maydena.
You fly direct from Adelaide to Hobart?
Yeah, it's direct. Yeah. It's like an hour.
Yeah. I think they opened up direct flights from Hobart to New Zealand as well.
Yeah, it'd be sick. We should just do an NZ trip. Let's go stay at Dryers.
Yeah, that's pretty much my plan for this summer.
Yeah, right. I was going to ask what you kind of got planned, because you're kind of freelancing in your bus. Yeah, digging a few trails for a few companies.
I'd love to say that the bus dream is alive and well, but I have not left yet. I'm literally sat in mum and dad's driveway in Melbourne still.
So what happened to it? You split the head?
Yeah, okay. So
I want to get into this story. I know you're avoiding it, but I want to know.
All right. Um, so we got the bus, I drove it from Hobart up to mum and dad's here in Vic, and that's where I like 90% fitted out the inside of it. Got it to a stage where like I was comfortable to start living in it. And then my mate Harrison and I did like just under a month round trip from Melbourne. We went to Pineapple Express, went to Canberra for a few days, then went and spent a couple of weeks at Will Kerr's place in Young and just basically dug jumps, rode his skate park that he built in his shed, and rode a trail for like 2 weeks straight. And then came back to Melbourne, dropped Harrison off, came back to mum and dad's. And that was sort of, I suppose, Harrison was like kind of had some stuff going on. He had a broken leg. So I was just like, I'm doing this round trip as like, it was sort of like a test trip.
Yeah.
I was like, get in. Like you come with me. Like, not doing anything for the next 3 weeks. Like, let's go. So that was sick. Just before I left Young to like come back down to Melbourne, kind of like having a couple of issues just with starting it on like cold mornings. And then basically I come back here, did like some work for a week, and then like fully packed the bus like I was leaving, ready to go, letting it walk like it was just idling in the driveway for like 2 minutes while I just like said goodbye to mum and dad. Like come back outside and there was one white smoke out the back, and then it just idled to a gentle stop. And I was like, guess I'm not leaving today then. And through some research, like at this point I had no idea about like engines. My brother is like a motorbike mechanic and I am a not mechanic at all.
Yeah.
Like not mechanically minded really. That's why I get other people to work on my mountain bikes, because I just don't enjoy doing it, and it's probably because I'm not good at it. So fuck, what do I do here? And I suppose through not being able to afford to get somebody else to fix it, I was like, I guess I better fucking roll my sleeves up and figure this shit out. So I spoke to like my mate Flinders down in Tassie, spoke to some other friends who are like either mechanics or, you know, work on cars heaps or whatever, and kind of diagnosed that I'd done a head gasket, which for me at the time was like pretty overwhelming. I was like, holy shit, that's a big job. But it seems like I can figure it out. So I taught myself how to replace a head gasket, put everything back together, and it just wasn't starting. So through what I'd learned from YouTube, I was like, I think like I just like didn't set something for the timing or whatever. I called a mate who's a mechanic, and he was like, take the rocker cover off, check these things. I took the rocker cover off and found a bunch of green coolant like in the top of the cylinder head. And I was like, the fuck that get there? So I called my mate back and I was like, hey man, I don't think the timing's the issue. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, we got bigger fish to fry. And so then our neighbor came over because he's also a mechanic. I got a lot of friends that are mechanics. He's also a mechanic, and he was like scratching his head. He was like, how did that much coolant get there? Because I just assumed that either I like didn't seat the head gasket properly, or like maybe the head was cracked or something like that. Yeah. And he was like, no. Like if you had a cracked head, you'd have milky oil, but like you wouldn't have green coolant sitting in the top of your cylinder head. Like it's like somebody's just poured like a bowl of coolant just into the top of the engine. So we kind of like looked through some shit. We ended up draining the oil and then draining the coolant, and then leaving the rocket cover off so we could see what was going on, and pouring coolant into the radiator, and we just watched it like trickle down the side of the timing cover, like down into the timing chain kind of area.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, that's the problem, obviously, because then the coolant just came out the sump plug. I was like, that shouldn't come out there. I'm a mechanic, but I know I could figure that one out. And then, yeah, basically that the timing chain tensioner had broken, which I didn't know because I didn't know what it was supposed to look like. So I was like, oh, it looks fine to me. So I figured that out, and it had worn away. Basically wore a hole in the side of in the timing cover. It's like straight through the water jacket. So coolant goes in, and instead of going around like it's supposed to, just went straight in to the motor. So now as it sits, I would have been fucking happy if all it was a head gasket, but I just pulled the pistons out. I'm basically just doing a complete knockdown rebuild. But the one bonus of it is that I'm like doing it all, like I'm learning it all myself, and this engine's, as far as I'm told, like pretty easy as far as engines go. So it's like a good one to be figuring it out. And I've learnt fuckloads. Like now, if I do break down on the side of the highway, I'm confident to like take some shit apart and try and figure it out. Whereas before I would have been like, I'm not touching anything.
It's a good skill to have, man. It really is.
Yeah. So that's where we're at now. I've got a brand new head sitting there. We've got new timing cover. Gonna put new rings in. We're going to do something to the bores. And yeah, I've got my neighbour's just going to basically come and help me reassemble it so that everything goes back together how it should. And I sort of said, I was like, dude, I'm happy to pay you like whatever your normal rate is, like, because I can't do this myself. And he pretty much come over, like looked at it, said, this is all the shit you need to take off. You're more than capable of doing that. Like, you can
take shit apart.
Yeah, like this is a list of parts that you need to order. I was like, cool. So I ordered those, and then he was like, basically call me when you've got it to like a stage that you actually need my help, and I'll come and like do the work that you need me to do. And then like he's like, you don't need to be paying me to like bolt exhaust manifolds on. Like, so that's ended up being really good. Like it's lucky that he kind of was keen to help, but also keen to help me save $1.
I think it's more he's keen not to do his day job at home. But
yeah, that's really all part of it. Yeah. But it means that, and then like through all of this, I was like, do I just get it back together and just sell it, or like what am I doing here? But now that I'm this deep in it, I'm like, I may as well at least get some enjoyment out of the old girl. Because I've only got really like until the end of next month before I fly to Crankworks, and then from Cairns Crankworks, I'm just going to fly. This gets into the other part of your question. What are my plans? From Cairns Crankworks, I'm going to fly straight to New Zealand for Rotorua, and then I might duck back to Tassie for Enduro Jam, and then go back to Queenstown for the Crankworks Summer Series.
Oh yeah, sick.
So like end of September, I don't really have like, that was like when my travels were supposed to finish in the bus anyway, and I haven't even left. So I was like, well, I'll sell it, make some money and move on with my life. But I'm going to try and get a little bit out of it at least.
What it's cool to see you still want to race though, especially after like not having your nationals campaign lead down the path that you were expecting it to.
Yeah, I was pretty salty about that, eh? You can't fault their reasoning though, but yeah, I'm still keen as to race, but it's like same as it has been for the last couple of years. Like I just want to race the races that I want to race. I think a massive part of the reason that I was so keen to go race Worlds this year was because of the location. Like I fucking love being in Morzine. And the Leger track looked like insane. The crowd looked like it was ridiculous. And I'd heard rumor that world champs next year is in Fort William, which I don't.
It's not a rumor, man.
It's confirmed now.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Okay. Well,
BMX, I'm pretty sure this is right. I've got to go. They've actually sent me press releases. I don't know how they got my email. Probably Reece Wilson, because he definitely listens.
Yeah.
Or McCaskill, maybe. I don't know. But they're having BMX road.
It's just like cycling championships, isn't it?
Yeah, like everything.
Yeah, so, the rumor was before they announced that, like when it was like ages ago. So I was like very invested in trying to get to Worlds this year. And through like speaking to some people and quite frankly just reading the criteria, I was like, cool, this is like as much as I need to do. Like I don't need to go spending heaps of my own money to race these other races to maybe get selected. I was like, if I do this stuff and get a good result, like I should have a pretty good chance of being on the team. But turns out the criteria basically means fuck all.
Yeah. In some ways. Because I read it kind of similar to the way you did, but it does say stuff about World Cups.
Yeah, there's only 2 rounds that fit in the selection period.
And it was kind of weird because to me, like it's world champs is a way for people that may not get on the World Cup to prove themselves a little bit. Like that's why you have so many countries competing and so many athletes.
Yeah, I just the reasoning, like I don't want to sit here and cry, Paul. Like the team that we sent over was fucking epic. Like everyone deserves a spot as much as anyone. But the reasoning I got given was because I hadn't been overseas racing this year, which if you read the criteria, there's only 1 round that counts this year in the selection period.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we have this selection criteria, but there's a line at the bottom that says at the end of the day, it's down to selector discretion. Like essentially this document means nothing because the people on the panel are going to choose who they're going to choose.
Yeah.
But was like, and I said this to Evan, like, well, if I had have spent, like, I can afford to go to Europe once. I'm not going to like go to Europe twice. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So I wasn't going to go over to Europe and race some World Cups to try and get selected for Worlds and then like come home and then wait for the selection and then like maybe get selected and then go over again.
Yeah, because you have to pay to represent your country.
Yeah, because like everything's self-funded. But the flip side of the coin is that assuming that I went over there and did what I would think that I could do results-wise, if I had have gone over there and raced some World Cups, then I would have had a spot on the team. So it's like sort of my fault that I didn't get selected. But yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't.
I don't like. I'm from like an emotional perspective. Like I'm not like I'm pretty annoyed about it, but at the same time, like if you just look at the facts, like there's ample reason why I didn't get selected. So I don't want to sit here and just like complain about it.
But like it's pretty. There was a time there where I thought we had like a bit of a lull in Australian downhill.
It's
But to see
now.
If you see like the selection and the people that we had on that team this year, and then the results they backed up with what I understand was a less than ideal setup for a lot of athletes over there. We did fucking amazing. Like,
oh yeah,
we mentioned it before, like at the start. We didn't really do an intro. We've just been chatting.
Yeah.
But like, dude, Sasha, 6th, Remy, 2nd, like, and then you've got young South Australian, Kale Foal. I think he was like 34th. He's 17, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking insane. And then all of our elite guys were top 30 except one, right? Like,
not sure. Oh, Booker got 54th or something.
Oh, sorry, yeah. So maybe 2, Booker and someone else.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is it's pretty hard to get selected now because the talent is so good.
Yeah, which was the exact reason that I was like, sweet, I've got like I the way that I read the selection criteria, I assumed third place at national championships would have held more weight.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I'm stoked for Jackson. I'm so stoked for Jackson.
He was able to ride.
Sorry?
I'm so happy that he was able to ride.
Yes. Yeah, because he crashed in Canada.
Yeah. But that was the other thing they did different this year. I mean, apparently it hasn't been consistent every single year, but there's no reserves on the team this year.
Yeah, which I thought was weird.
Same.
Because unfortunately, and healing vibes to Connor, because I know he's going through, it's pretty bad injury, what he's going through.
Yeah.
Concussion. But yeah, I was like, why isn't there a reserve or someone to take his spot?
Yeah. Yeah. When Jackson thought that he broke his elbow, he called me up and he was like, can you be on a plane next week? He's like, if we can sort it out and I'm not going to race, like I want to give you my spot sort of thing.
That's sick.
And I was like, fucking oath, like I'll figure it out.
Yeah. I'll rob a bank if I need to.
Yeah. I'm in like a very lucky position that like if that was the case, like mum and dad would have been able to like help me make it work. And we jumped straight into like talking to Oz Cycling. And even if Jackson had have officially resigned, like given up his spot, they still wouldn't have entered me.
Okay.
Yeah. And I asked them if they could enter me as a reserve rider so that way it was like basically at the moment that Jackson had a yes or no, like it didn't matter that the entries had already closed or whatever because I was already on the list. And they said that for whatever reason they couldn't do that either, which, it's awesome that Jackson ended up being able to race. But whether it was me or whether it was somebody else in a similar position or whatever, if they had have actually had reserves, like that reserve rider would have had a spot on the team this year.
Yeah. It's just weird shit going down. Because I remember that year, Bernard Kerr was like a reserve and someone axed himself on the final day before qualifying and he just rode and seated and had like 2 days of practice or whatever.
Yeah.
And smashed it.
Like it can be done, but the vibes that I got from talking to the people that I spoke to was basically, we're not really sure. This seems kind of too hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not an unusual vibe.
Yeah. And they obviously had their reasons for not having a reserve.
Yeah.
Talking to Evan, Evan seems to think that the reason that they wouldn't have had reserves was that they just didn't feel that more than 7 people met the criteria, which I would argue against. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a bit weird. And I was devastated to see that Sean pulled out, but fuck, she's had some accidents. So, and then she smashed it at Crankworks. So
She never had any intention of going from the start.
yeah, I know that now. But, yeah.
I reckon it would have been good to see her just go over there anyway. Like after how well she rode at Canadian Open, like it would have been epic for her just to go over there with like no pressure, just go and have fun and like see what. I reckon she would have actually ended up with a really good result.
100%.
She's riding like pretty. She's not riding pretty well. She's riding really well at the moment.
It was the first time I've seen her ride super aggressive in a very long time, probably since 2019.
Yeah. The cool thing is that like she's the couple times I've ridden with her in like the last year or so, she's like been learning just to ride the bike kind of thing. Like she's like popping off random little rocks and like doing little nose bonks and like that kind of shit. So now put her in a race scene where she's like keen to have crack and has that bit of aggression and fire mixed with like her new just general bike skills. Yeah, it's a pretty good combo. Whereas I think in the past she would have that aggression and drive and like want to go fast and like mental capacity to go fast, but would always end up crashing because like she probably didn't actually have that skill in reality, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes 100% sense.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I rate that. But I'm keen for next year, Nationals. I don't know where it is. No one knows where it is, but I'm keen for it. I think it's going to be an interesting race.
Pissed if it's not a podcast.
Well, I'm just going to leave. Shall I just leave that bit in there?
Just leave it from when I said he'll be pissed. No. Just make me actually take it out, unlike the time when you left the fucking ASMR of me weighing in.
Yeah, but people loved that. I still haven't made a repeat, like just hour-long soundtrack of you taking the slash.
If I had some kind of, it sounded like I had some kind of problem because the audio was cutting in it. So it was like intermittent.
Early onset prostate issues.
Wasn't like a constant stream.
I think it's about time we start wrapping things up.
Oh, yeah, with that kind of silly talk.
But no, Nationals will be sick next year because the talent's amazing and the venue will be amazing. And yeah.
It's going to be sick.
Yeah, what have you been listening to?
I've been listening to a bit of I've been trying to venture out. I've been stuck in like I've got this playlist called Trails, which they play at Maydena a fair bit. And people that knew me like 8 years ago when I started that playlist are often surprised to be like, you still fucking listen to that same playlist? So I've been trying to like listen to some different stuff. Hasn't been going so well. I've been listening to a Nirvana radio on Spotify a fair bit. And
interesting.
Little Ollie Davis.
Yeah.
The song that he had in a reel that he posted from Worlds like the other day had this band called Dub Pistols.
Sorry, what was that?
The song was Mucky. The band was called Dub Pistols.
Yeah, okay.
And the song's called Mucky Weekend. And I've just been running a playlist based off of that song at the moment. It's kind of like I don't even know how to describe the genre. It's like kind of old school hip hop mixed with like old school drum and bass kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sick.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. been listening to that. And then there's always like your standard, just listening to some kind of like Black Sabbath or something.
Yeah, AC/DC radio or whatever you put on every morning, and then yeah. Sick, man. Have you got anything else you want to add before we knock off? I'm going to go eat some pizza in a minute.
I'm pretty hungry. Hey, what mum and dad's doing for dinner? What else do I want to add? If you haven't watched Notion yet, go check that out. The link's in my bio. In my bio, I got one of those fancy link trees now.
Whoa.
Yeah, I got heaps of different links in there. There's actually a link to you can like insert your Spotify. So I've been updating that with like playlists that I've been vibing. There's a link to my online store. Go buy some merch.
Oh, yeah, you got merch. That's right.
That'll help me pay for the bus repairs. Or put fuel in it once.
Sick.
But yeah, if you haven't seen Notion yet, go find the link in my bio, give that a watch. We're dropping a BTS video this week as well, so a bit more into the behind the scenes of everything. Yeah, good chat, man. It's been ages.
It has been. Yeah, it's been too long. Yeah, other than just Instagram messages, but yeah,
we should do another one with Jai soon.
I was literally thinking that the other day.
Yeah, we see.
I was thinking like maybe something around Crankworks.
Yeah, maybe just if we do it just after, I might be in Rotorua at the same time he is with a bit of downtime, and we can at least us two can be on the one screen.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Epic.
Easy, man.
Yeah.
Well, take it easy. I'll let you know when this is out.
Yeah, epic. I look forward to it.
Sweet. All right, I'll see you in December, man. It's gonna be good.
Have a good one.
Cheers, man. Bye.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to that one, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. A bit more of a candid chat with Baxter. We went through a bunch of shit, some stuff that I had to take out because it can't be talked about, but I'll leave it at that. Thanks to all the sponsors: Trek, Taylor Trails, NS Dynamics, Franked Mountain Bike Apparel, Dirt Surfer, Crush, and Fist. These guys are making Australian stuff and making it in Australia. And man, I'm so tired. I can't even get my words right. They're making rad stuff. Hit them up. Help support the podcast by supporting them. If you want to help support the podcast in other ways, jump over to beyondthetape.com, grab some merch, grab some mud guards, buy me a coffee. And help keep this thing running. If you can't afford any of that and don't want to buy some stuff, tell your mum, tell your mates, tell your dad, tell your dog, tell whoever, and get them listening to the podcast. Anyway, until the next episode, make sure you go out and have a bunch of fun for me as I'm slaving away in the workshop. Thanks, guys, and we'll talk soon.